that kind of 4 all the way to 10, 11 years old. If you think about toys that are on the market, there's doll houses, there's those cozy little critters that have little houses and dress in little clothing like little skunks with aprons on. There's Lego, there's Playmobil, there's a lot of like making of these small worlds, and small worlds are really compelling to children because it gives children that agency. They are the biggest thing in the small world. They
Mm.
are in charge of that small world. And a lot of times they're playing in that small world with other children, creating things. And that takes a lot of communication, problem solving. It takes fine motor skills because they're working with tiny little things. It takes sort of like a story master, somebody who's got the thread of this is where the story's going and everybody has their roles and it's fluid. One day the fairy land or the dollhouse or the Lego is happening, everybody is witches, and the next day everybody's gnomes, and the next day they're working at a hospital. So there's this fluidness to it. And I just really got noticed that about the children I work with. And as a result, I thought, I'm going to go back to the book I started when I was 7 and 8 years old, my original book of fairies, and kind of dig into that. And that's where my newest book, The Book of Fairies, came from.
Oh my goodness. I am reacting so deeply to how important that small world play is. It's so beautiful. And a part of me wants to sort of leave it as you've explained it and hope parents really tap into and just feel at a visceral level why magic matters so much for our children's well being and for development. But one fine point I want to put on it that I hope folks are hearing is that this is the kind of play where children are free to wonder to themselves what could be. There's no limits on what necessarily has to be. And isn't that exactly how we want children to respond to difficult problems that they face? What could be? What don't I know? What are some questions I can ask or kind of work through here? And you're describing this really magical, beautiful way children get all this great experience, really building those parts of their brain and of their souls and of their bodies, the habit of really being able to look at the world that way is a gift we can give our kids.
Yeah, I think too, I think about kind of the video games that a lot of kids are really interested in, and that's something like Minecraft, which is its own world. It's a world building game. Right? And that's great. And I see the benefit of that. But it's good to remember that a game like Minecraft is designed by adults and it's
Mm,
confined by the adult imagination, which is
mhm.
very different than a child's imagination. And there isn't really room for a child to be the creator. I mean, they're creating their own world, but it's stuck in the system that is in the brain and it's one dimensional really. Whereas the three-dimensional, like the Lego world or the fairy building world or the dollhouse world, that's really hands-on, multi-sensory. Kids are in it with all of their senses awake and widened. And that is really where the imagination stretching goes. And I love what you said. It's a great place for kids to process things. This is embarrassing to admit, and my daughter, she's 25 now. So when she was little, she had a doll house that she played with a lot with like a little family. And it would be kind of rest time. It'd be, after a long day of school, she'd come home and she'd go into the dollhouse room and she'd play with it. And I'd have the baby monitor on still. I had a younger son, so I was like paying attention to what was happening while I cooked dinner. And I could hear her play out the whole day of school, processing it. So that is another element of the
Mhm.
small world play. It's a place for kids to process what their day has been like or what the experiences they're having. And it gives them that chance to try a different ending, or play it out again and play it out again as they work through it. So I just wanted to add those couple of thoughts on the small worlds.